Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's live stream. Again, we have some technical difficulties, so give me 1 second to iron them out. Should be done in a second, so people on Facebook can also see the stream, and on Instagram as well. So that should be working fine now. Let me hear from you. Leave me a quick comment or a quick like, so we can see if stream is working, because I can't see it still. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, please let me know if you can hear and see me. Then we'll jump right into it, because today is about tools, right? And one tool that I'm now using that isn't working properly, obviously, is a streaming tool that I now start to actually not like because it doesn't work. But today's topic is about tools, right? And what can I say about tools, right? We will talk about the specific tools that you should learn and begin to use basically right about now. Right, so that's your situation. You should learn those tools, and a quick, how should I say, right? A quick word of advice here. While I'm trying to figure out my stream on Facebook, a quick word of advice here. The tools don't make the artist, right? You need to be aware of that. That even if you have the coolest tools and the coolest toys, that doesn't mean that you are a good programmer instantly, right? But it does help if you have the proper tools. So, and also if you can use those tools, so you should definitely learn them and not fumble around like me, like an idiot. So I hope that works now. At least on YouTube, at least on. So let's see if that works now. God dang it. It is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. So it doesn't seem to work. Okay. Here we are. You got the tools. You should know how to set them up. It doesn't seem to work. So sadly, on Facebook, you cannot see me. It seems. And we can hate it all night long, right? We can, maybe I'll just put a YouTube link down here. Stream is broken. Check out the live on YouTube. Right? So that's annoying, but who cares, right? Today we talk about software development tools, not necessarily streaming tools. And let me know. Yeah, so a few people have already joined. Let me know in the chat what kind of tools you are using, right? To learn, to code, to write code, to manage code, right? All the good stuff. Oh, now Facebook is on. All right, okay. Let's go. We managed. I managed. It seems I've managed. So if you're on Facebook and can see me, also please, quick comment. So what tools are you currently using? Because it's an interactive kind of thing, right? To learn coding, to actually write code, and also to manage code. Let me know in the chat. If I see some people now, just see one comment here. Not everything, yeah. Not everything is ChatGPT. Okay, let's get this right. It does not replace all your magic tools magically, right? It is a tool. We will talk about it in a second. But of course, that's not like proper tools. What are you using? How are you using for writing code? What do you use outside, right? Coding tasks, okay? Of just learning a programming language. Because there's a bunch of things you need to understand and also learn, right? When how to use that are things like project management tools, right? Time tracking tools, all those good stuff. So also I'm always interested in what people are using, so I know, right? So I know what they're using. Maybe I learn something new, But if you use the proper tools in a basic fashion, your life will be easier, right? And your progress will be faster. So today I want to look at a few your basic toolkit, right? A few we'll talk about integrated software development environments, source control systems, project management tools to manage, then tools to manage your files, right? Because as a developer, you work with computers, right? You work with files, and just some general tools that make your, how should I say, your computing experience a little bit smoother. And the things we'll discuss here, this will be interesting if you're an absolute beginner. Okay, if you just yesterday started I want to become a programmer, I have no idea. That's fine, right? Then it's going to be interesting. So you want to start up with the proper tools from the beginning. But if you have already learning for some time, maybe you're even programming, maybe you have some programming job, right? Or maybe you're still intimidated, right, by things like Git. They say, God, all those Git command line things, my brain is breaking, right? Or you have a proper development environment and you say, oh, Jesus, there are so many methods and functions and buttons, right, that you're kind of confused. This is right here for you. And as I said, you can have the best tools, but if you don't know, right, how to use them, that's gonna be a tough cookie. So as every time, today has been a long day. Sorry about that. If I look confused, it's because I haven't slept a lot. Right? But you can always reach out to me. I might want to make this very clear. If you have any questions, either you can put them in the chat right now. If you're watching this on replay, feel free to put them also in the chat. You can always send me a message, right? And I'll answer it. Okay. So anyone that has already started, right, and has written the first lines of code, and you write some code and it actually works, and you're bamboozled and say, oh, cool beans, I wrote some text and I made the computer do a thing. That's always the start of a beautiful thing, right? But we gotta be realistic here. In the end, let's assume, hypothetical, right? You're super confident in your programming language, right? And you can just write it down without thinking, but you can only write it down on a piece of paper, or you can only write it in a shitty text editor. You're not producing code. You're just toying around. So if you want to know how software is built in the professional world, then leave me a quick comment. Let's push that algorithm up so a little more people can see it, and also show me that you are, how should I say, that you're done playing around. You want to work with the professional tools, right, and learn this. And when I learned programming, because I'm an old man, right, very old man, and I wrote my first lines of code on this thing right here, right, on this good old thing that I sometimes bring upon you, dear stream viewers. It is a Commodore 64. Some people might know that, old people might know that, so that's not just a dusty keyboard, that is like a full computer. And you would plug your TV in the back of it as a monitor, and then you could type some code in and it would run the code. That's it. That's all it does, all it ever did. And you didn't really have any tools. You didn't have any development environments. You didn't have a compiler. You didn't have any of the cool stuff, right? As you might imagine, over time I've upgraded to better machines, right? But bringing the point home, I still did the same thing, right? I sat down, I wrote some code. I hoped that it works. Oh, please work, right? Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. If it didn't, I looked at the code for a long time, and then I edited it a little bit. Right? So maybe that's the reason. Then I run it again. Then I do a little prayer, right? And then it worked. It didn't work, and that's basically how I operated for a good 10 years or so, right? When I was all by myself, right? Maybe next step you write a few debug write line statements into your code. But this is also not a good way to live. And the thing is, because I was doing this by myself, I thought this is the way how it works. Right? I had no idea that with the proper tools, it's much easier. It's much more organized. It's much more structured. And it is, all in all, it's just simpler. Okay. And those are all things that I just learned when I got my first job, right? So if I would have never gotten a job as a software engineer, I still would do it the old way. I would still live in pain, right? So I'm here to like save you from that, because adapting to that was very hard, right? If you do something, even if it's wrong, yeah, if you do something for a long time, you get used to it, you think that's normal, and if you then need to learn how to do it a different way, it's very hard, and this wasn't easy for me, yeah, because it was a whole different way of working. But of course, over time, those tools, yeah, the coding standards, the procedures, they all make sense. Yeah? And it's not like there is some magical man on a mountain that had the Holy Spirit of programming gods talk to him and tell him how to do it, right? All of those things, they do make sense, right? And all of those procedures and tools are there to make your life easier, right? So you need to understand that it's not something, oh, you need to learn this because that's the way we do it. No, they all have purpose, okay? And to prevent you from doing the same stupid thing that I was doing, I'll tell you today a few things that you should be starting out today, right? You need to understand that making software is much more than writing code, right? Writing code is a part of it, but it's not the main part of it, right? And you need to understand that using the right tools also helps you understand your own code, right? And if you understand your own code better, it helps you to learn faster, right? And it just makes you more efficient. Huh? So implement all those things that I'm telling you. I'm telling it to you. I see one of my clients is here as well, right? They know how to do it. But if you're not one of our clients, I'm telling you now, and you need to do it yourself, right? And those things work. You need to do them. Pretty please, right? This brings me to you right now. I see the few count. There's a few people here, right? You are one of them. You're also not here to hear me ramble about tools and all that, but give me some things, right? What do you need for what do you think do you need for software development, right? What tools are you currently using? Because again, it's an interactive kind of thing. Yeah? And of course, there are many tools to help you build software. But today we'll just talk about the baseline kit. And also, the idea should always be you shouldn't use like some practice tools, some things that are easy in the beginning, right? You don't need to fully 100% understand the tools in the beginning, okay? You just need to understand a tiny bit of it, a tiny part, and that already makes a huge difference. But then the advanced things are already there for you when you need it, okay? And I see this one here, right? I comment here. VS Code as a development environment. We'll talk about that, my friend. Git, obviously a good idea. Python is a neat language. That's also fine. Copilot, Mustafa. I would only recommend Copilot if you have been programming for a year or two and you have a job already. If you're currently learning, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Okay. And because we mentioned VS Code here, we'll start with the number first key ingredient to be successful. And if you haven't been using that so far, then welcome to the future. It's an integrated development environment. The thing that you actually use to type your code. Okay. And I've dropped something here. Okay. Crazy stream here today. But if you just type your code into some text editor, you're still stuck in 1970. Yeah, it's time to get up to date. Even though you could just open up Notepad, write all your code. Okay, but you're missing out, right? So an integrated development environment, and this is key to understand what this even means, right? Is a software tool that integrates all kinds of functionality that you might need to build software. Yeah? And there is a champion, dear friends, and that's Visual Studio. And now that's the point where people get confused. Very important note here, right? There are two products. They are both by Microsoft. They have a similar name. They both kind of are named Visual Studio. And one is Visual Studio Code, and the other product is just Visual Studio with a year number behind it. like 2024. And an edition, like professional or enterprise. And they even, to make it even more tricky, they have similar logos, right? Similar icons. And I don't think it is actually a good idea. And who the big brain at Microsoft was, but that's what we have now, right? So what is the actual difference? This is something people very often confuse. VS Code is a text editor primarily, right? And you can put in plugins and extensions if you know what you're doing, right? But by itself, it doesn't really do too much. But Visual Studio, the proper Visual Studio, on the other hand, is a complete and powerful development environment, right? With just much more functionality. So to drive the point home, right? Even with the wonky screen setup that we have now, let's see if I can do the screen share. There you go, right? There you go. Maybe I can make this a little bigger. Today is an unprofessional day, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. But left side, Visual Studio. Right side, Visual Studio Code. Little different color, right? And the fun thing here is that the Visual Studio Code icon is missing a part, right? That part is integrated in the Visual Studio thing. So let's compare those side to side. So you'll see this old thing. This is good old VS Code, right? You probably know it. Most people know it. And this is Visual Studio, okay? What is the difference? It should already tell you there is a lot more going on. Buttons, menus, all the good stuff. There is a lot of more things going on. And what should tell this to you, right? If you think about it, there is more to be done, right? There's more to be done. So from now on, when I talk about Visual Studio, I mean Visual Studio, not VS Code, right? And you should, if you love your time and money and effort, you should use Visual Studio, right? The cool one. You might be, maybe you've heard it, right? That VS Code is for free. It is, right? And Visual Studio costs money, which it does, but there is an important distinction here. You can use Visual Studio, the real Visual Studio, for free, as long as you're not using it to make money. Right? So for learning, you can get what's called Visual Studio Community Edition, and that's entirely free. And that has basically all the functionality that the Professional Edition has. Right? And it works and looks exactly the same. Right? Now I know when you first open my Visual Studio, it's okay, cool. Weird Austrian man told me to get Visual Studio Community. I'll open that up. God dang it, there are so many buttons and menus. I have no idea. Right? I know it will look daunting in the beginning. Right? But the thing is, you don't need all of that in the beginning. Okay, that's fine. You will not touch those things for months, probably. Yeah? You're not gonna click on Performance Profiler in your first week of coding. That's fine. But it is already there when you need it. Yeah? And with VS Code, you'll always hunt for some extension, then you install the extension, then some other extension stops working, and it's a whole mess, right? And literally in the beginning, you'll write some code, you'll click the green play button, and it goes, right? That's all you need to do in the beginning. But the other things are already there when you need them. This is really, really neat, because then you don't need to spend hours finding out which plugin, right? You need, how to integrate it, how to even get the environment working. With Visual Studio, you can just start writing code, click the green play button, happy day. And the cool thing is, it comes with really the best debugger in the market. And if you're a complete beginner and don't know what a debugger is, that just allows you to look at your code while it's running, right? And that in turn helps you understand your own code. It's not just for finding bugs, okay? It's for understanding what's going on. And if you understand what's going on, you understand code itself much quicker, right? So do yourself a favor. I'm not sponsored by Microsoft. I don't give two craps, right? But get the real Visual Studio. Start using it. Start learning it, yeah? And become friends with the integrated debugger as well, right? And not only a cool debugger is integrated, yeah, Git is also in built in. Yeah? So that's the next important step. If you haven't, and many of you, probably you, it's you, I know, right? You haven't really been using version control software. And without you knowing, you have lived a miserable life. Okay? So for the absolute beginners here, what is version control software? It keeps track of the changes of your code over time. That means you don't need 5 million backup files of your old code, but you can just continue coding, go back and forth in the history of your code. That's really neat. And the other thing is, it allows you, and this is something you'll do in your first job, right? It makes collaboration not easier, but realistically possible. So multiple people can work on the same code base at the same time without everything getting to become a jumbled mess, right? So it's worth it to learn it, right? And you have your backups and you can go back, right? And you can learn how to work in a team. Right? And everybody uses Git nowadays. We are at the stage where Git is the dominant version control system. And I bet my left ball that one of you has a GitHub account, made it months ago, full of energy and joy. I'm gonna use GitHub. I'll make a GitHub account. And then you never used it. If that's you, right? It's okay. You're not alone, but you need to start using it. You need to start using GitHub so you learn how to use it, because you need to have that skill if you want to build anything that's a little more complex than your stupid Hello World program. Again, this doesn't mean that you buy now a 500-page Git book and try to learn everything. You just need to use it in a very basic fashion. Right? There's lots of things that you can do. Right? You don't need this in the beginning. Right? In the beginning, you basically just need to know how to create a repository, how to commit, and how to push code. Yeah, if you can do that, fine, do that. Because that's also very neatly integrated into Visual Studio, right? You can basically do all of those things with the click of a button, right? I would also recommend that you get the GitHub desktop application because it has a great user interface. So you can work with your repository very easily, and it's very easy to use, right? So now somebody in the corner says, "Oh, but if you wanna become good, and if you wanna become a cool guy, and if you wanna be elite or whatever, you need to learn the command line tools for Git." No, you don't. Right? You'll do that. You'll do that later, but you don't start out with that, because if you start out with that, you'll always forget. You'll always have to look it up. If you use a graphical user interface, you'll see what's going on. You'll see your merge conflicts properly. You see your pushes and pulls. You see your commit history. Why is that better? Because with that, you understand how it works. You don't need to remember all those things. Later on, if you know what you're trying to do, right? If you have that knowledge already, then use the command and you'll be quicker, right? But that's not the way to learn it. And we're not in the 70s anymore, where everything is a command line tool. We have wonderful screens, big as 4K monitors, 4 graphical user interfaces, nothing wrong with using a mouse. More important that you actually use Git. And the easiest way you can use it is the best way. Right? So what do? You already have a GitHub account. If you don't, go make one now. It's free, right? You download the GitHub desktop application and you start your next project by creating a new repository and learn about pushing code. Right? And you'll get this in no time. Right? You'll see how convenient it is. Right? And the next time your computer explodes, you drop your laptop into a river. Happened to one of my clients. Then you can sleep safe and sound that all your code is backed up. It's still there. You can still continue working on it. That's good, right? So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, if you follow my advice, you don't have to do whatever you want, but it's good advice, right? You know which IDE to pick, and you know how to organize your code, right? So how to keep your code organized. But one thing is still missing here, and that's project management. And there are 2 types of people. There are people that hear the word project management and go, "Oh, nice. I like Excel sheets," which is fun. Yeah, you people are fun. There's the other type of person that when they hear project management, they want to crawl under some blanket and not talk to you. I'm one of those people. I don't like it. But let me tell you, if you do it just by yourself, it's not too bad. And the benefit here is that it actually helps you keep track of the things that you want to do or that you're trying to do, right? So you can have a structured approach. That is key. Again, there are many tools, software tools to do this, but at your current stage, you just need something simple and easy, right? Just use Trello, just a Trello board, right? It's free online tool that can help you with that. Go to Trello.com, make a free account, and build a simple Kanban board. Again, you learn bit by bit. If you don't know what a Kanban board is, you look that up. But it's pretty simple. You have 3 lists. You categorize the things to do, in progress, and done. If you have that set up, you'll always know what you're working on, what you should be working on. And you have a little motivational benefit that when you move one of those cards to done, you feel happy, right? You feel a little happy. You feel that you accomplished something. And keeping motivated is one of the key points, because learning programming takes some time. And if you lose motivation along the way, then you'll quit. So when we talk about this task management system, the important thing is that you need small specific tasks, right? And really describe just one task that you need to do, right? This is very important. So the task of finish my project is not good, but you need to probably, to do that, you need to do 7 things. So that should be 7 separate tasks. I highly recommend to adapt this kind of system to all areas of life, because, you know, we all have stuff to do, right? And having such a system helps you a lot. Because if you don't keep track and organize your tasks, you'll just always be all over the place. And being all over the place usually means that you're trying to figure out what you should be doing, or if you're doing the right thing, and you're inefficient, right? So outsource that, have a structured approach, stick to that approach. Happy days, you'll be more efficient. So what should you do now? Is go to Trello.com, make an account, make a Kanban board, and start using it. That's always the most important thing. If you're the type of person that has the GitHub account and hasn't used it, congratulations, you failed at step 0, right? You need to use it. It's about using it, not about having a GitHub account. Okay. So let's quickly rehash those things. 3 things. If you do them, trust me, your life will be better. Can't force you to do it, right? But it will be better. You get an actual IDE, not just a code editor. You get a GitHub account and you actually start using it. Even if you're just a beginner, that's fine, right? It will help you. And you find yourself some managing situation, maybe with Trello, right? Start managing your projects with a simple Kanban board. Okay? 3 very simple things. They're all for free. You just need to do it. Right? And if you're learning programming, if you're here in this group, if you're on my YouTube channel, you already spent time learning programming, right? Right? So use that time wisely. Don't fuck around all day. Okay? So I want to mention a few tools that make your general computing life easier. And I'll post a list in the comments afterwards, right? So you can download them. But really, those just make your computing life easier. We are programmers, we work with computers all day. It can be nicer, right? So if you want a cool text editor, get Notepad++, right? If you're a little advanced, right, and you're on a Windows machine, get WinMerge to resolve merge conflicts, right? Very nice, right? If you work a lot with files, get Total Commander. Looks like a program from the 90s, because it is, but it's really good. It's really good, and it didn't need to change over the past 20 years because it's that good. If you're a little advanced and you dive into regular expressions, do yourself a favor and get regex buddy. That's a tool that helps you evaluate, test, and write regular expressions. Right? Also highly recommended. All of those are free except for regex buddy, which for a lifetime license is about $20 or $30, which is definitely worth it. Right? This is not only for you to learn. If you buy this tool, you'll use it for the rest of your developer life. I bought mine 15 years ago. I still use it. it's definitely worth $30. So, I mean, just go do it, right? Because realistically, you're here, not only here, but in your day-to-day life, right? You're doing this to become good at programming, right? You have your reasons. Maybe for your next career move. Many of you do want to switch career. Maybe you want to upgrade your current career, or you move up the ladder in your current job. Right? Maybe it's just for a personal project or personal growth. Right? That's also fine. But if you actually use those three approaches and you have them in your backpack, right? It will improve the quality of your life. It will improve the quality of your code, right? Just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. I'm trying to help you here, right? So I'll now, if you have some questions, send them in various chats. Yeah, I can see the chats. If any questions come up, I'll answer them. Let's have a quick Q&A session. And while the questions come in, I want to take a quick 2 minutes to talk about our mentoring program, right? And how I can help you specifically learn all of this, right? Because it's cool. It's cool that you see me here once a week talking about this, right? That's all fine. That's all fine and dandy. But really, that's not enough, right? So what we do when we work together, among other things, right, is that we help you set up all the tools, show you the first steps with them, so you can very quickly and basically without friction get to use and know them, right? And then you can very quickly start programming, right? Because nothing stands in your way to actually concern yourself with the programming itself, right? You probably notice this. Oh, you started to learn Python, whatever. You couldn't set up the environment. You follow a tutorial. It says some error message, wrong Python version, right? Happens all the time. You set up Git, you can't push for some weird reason. SSH keys are wrong, whatever, right? So we help you. We do this together so you understand what you're doing, right? Then you can start writing programs. Then you can start actually programming, and with that, right, you learn more and more. And of course, you'll be working very closely, and that's like the key feature here, with people like me. So you're gonna be working with me directly one-on-one, but you're also gonna be working with our coaches, and each one of those has 10 plus years of professional software engineering experience, right? They're all active software devs, senior devs that you can talk to basically every day to learn from them and learn from me. So if that makes sense, if that's interesting to you, you gotta go to the click at a clue, right? You can click on Rocket Mentoring. There is a link where you'll find the link. Google me, right? And click book a free consultation. So we can have a quick look at your situation, right? And see what you need, right? What you need to do and potentially start working together, right? Maybe not, but maybe you should, okay? I'm not telling you what to do, but that's the thing. We are here to help. We're here for our clients 24/7, basically, senior devs. It's a cool thing, right? And people learn really, really quickly, right? So if you're interested in that and you want to find out if that is something for you, you click the link where it is. There it is, right? You click the link, book a free consultation session completely for free. We figure out if you want to work together. We'll give you some tips and hints on how you could do it yourself if you want. And by the way we do those things, we only work with 10, 15 people at the same time, right? So this is on a first come, first serve basis. So I'm yelling this out to you right now because we have capacities at the moment. So if you're still watching and you want to grow your skills as frictionless as possible, as efficiently as possible, then this is for you. And you should either go to the link, or you leave a quick message, leave a quick comment here, and we'll get to chat, right? That's it. Easy peasy. And together we'll figure out a step-by-step plan to get you from where you are now to where you want to be, right? Okay, that's what we do. That's what I do. Right? What I've been doing for a long time. So if you apply yourself and do it the right way, in a few months, you could be at a skill level where just have some random idea, sit down, and actually put it into reality as a software solution. And that's probably where you want to be in the end, right? And let me tell you, this is very possible if you go about it the right way, right? Don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to some people that have been trying and failing by themselves for years, they're probably doing the wrong thing, right? They probably don't have the right guidance. They probably don't know what they're doing. Okay. Don't be one of those people. Make informed decisions. Get some help if needed. My help, some other help, it doesn't really matter. But don't just swim in your own thing and never progress, right? Take the advice that it gave you today seriously. Implement that. If you want some help, send me a message. If you want some proper help, book a consultation session. And I don't see any questions here today. So thank all of you for joining today's call. And yeah, see you next week. See you in the Facebook group if you're in the Facebook group, or send me a message. I'm